What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another Pass the Joysticks video. Today we are gonna be discussing open world games, and open world games is a big thing nowadays because most of the single player games that are coming out, they are coming out in open world concept. And you know, open world, it has been around forever now. It's been around since the 80s, but truly we really started using it in the 90s when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out. So it has been around for a very long time. We are seeing more of it now, and we have gotten amazing open world games, forever now. But let's go and see what the definition of open world game is, because not every game or every single player game can be considered an open world game. So for example, let's see. The definition of open world game is a game mechanic of using a virtual world that the player can explore and approach objectives freely, as opposed to a world with more linear and structured gameplay. So when it comes to like open world, it's more of a having kind of like a set mission of your linear story, but having the freedom to explore around the world. So you're gonna have a bunch of side missions, and you're gonna have your linear story that is gonna take you through your single player campaign. But not, like I said, not every game can be considered an open world game if you don't have the freedom to explore and do all your side missions and everything. For example, greatest games of all time when it comes to open world games, we have to consider Grand Theft Auto as one of the best games that has been out forever now. Including like Grand Theft Auto 3 was the one that solidified the open world genre when it came to having a big sandbox and dropping you in there and having the freedom to do whatever you want, but having your linear story too. So when it comes to like games like this, Grand Theft Auto 3 was the one that solidified. Now, fast forwarding to 2013, we got Grand Theft Auto 5 that is still going to this day. Yes, we still haven't gotten Grand Theft Auto 6, but Grand Theft Auto 5 still going strong, and one can say it's one of the all-time greatest open world games there is. Is it the best? At the end of the day, what is the best open world game? That is subjective. That is a subjective question because everybody will like different games and everything. But taking the definition into context, taking what an open world game is, now let's review a bunch of different open world games. One of the best of all time, I would consider The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt being one of the best open world games ever, because The Witcher 3 gave you an incredible, beautiful world, but the storylines that you have to follow were just amazing too. But you also have to consider all the side missions that you used to do, the linear story that you follow, and then now let's talk about game mechanics like combat and all that stuff. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was just a masterpiece. Hey, it won multiple Game of the Year awards. So there's a lot of stuff when it comes to The Witcher 3. Now, let's take into consideration a fan favorite, a game that has been out, a game that came out in 2011, and to this day is still one of the best open world games, and that is The Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. And when I mention Skyrim, you guys, if you guys haven't played Skyrim to this day, then you are missing out on a lot, because the game has been remastered for every single console, PC. You can pretty much pick it up on any platform that you play games on, and it's there. The Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, it's probably one of the all-time best open world games ever made. And when it comes to Elder Scrolls, Elder Scrolls knows how to deliver that. They know how to deliver an open world concept. And when it comes to like Skyrim was the best at the time. Is it the best open world game that has ever come out? Again, that is subjective. A lot of people will say yes. We got Scrappy in the building. I'm gonna keep a countdown and see how many times Scrappy comes and visit. But when it comes to like Skyrim, it has to be one of the all-time favorites for a lot of people. But is it the best? You let us know. Is it your favorite open world game? Let us know down below in the comments. But let's fast forward a little bit more to 2017. On the Nintendo Switch, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That, for me, it has to be on my top 3 of open world games. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild definitely solidify as one of the all-time best games, period. Because now having an open world concept with The Legend of Zelda, having a bunch of side missions, having like an incredible, beautiful world for the Switch to handle, that was just amazing. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild definitely won a bunch of awards. It actually won Game of the Year as well, because of the game that it is. And a lot of people consider The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild the best open world game there is, no matter what. And to an extent, I can agree, because you can see how Legend of Zelda came from what it was back in the day to what it is now, and what it will become later on in the future, because we still have Breath of the Wild 2 coming out. A lot of different stories. So I will say Breath of the Wild definitely is one of the best open world games to this day. But we have a bunch of different ones. Now let's talk about open world Sandbox also. Would you consider open world Sandbox like a linear open world game? Let's talk, for example, Minecraft that came out in 2011. Is Minecraft one of the best all-time open world games? Now, I personally would not consider Minecraft as, on my top open world games, because it doesn't have a story. And a lot of people will say, well, I mean, you can just follow the little lore of Minecraft and whatnot. And I agree. I mean, it has its lore. It has, the different worlds that you can go through and whatnot. It is a complete open world game. But at the end of the day, it's a sandbox game where you can do whatever you want. You can build your own hut. You can build a bunch of different stuff and whatnot. So that it's in its own category. Like, for example, Ark Survival Evolved and a bunch of different survival games like that. They have their own open world concept. I'm trying to talk about like an open world linear story game, like the ones that I mentioned before. So Minecraft, even though it is an incredible game and it has made, amazing stuff with the years, and it has been on every platform, and it continues to develop to be one of the best sandbox games, if not the best sandbox game there is. But would you consider, Minecraft to be one of the best open world games and everything? Scrappy passed by. But let's talk about other games that have come out throughout the years that have had multiple sequels, like Assassin's Creed, for example. Assassin's Creed as an open world game, yes, I would consider that to be one of the best open world games. But having so many sequels and everything, I don't know. Assassin's Creed has had good ones, has had bad ones. It's a great game, but let's leave it at that, because Assassin's Creed has great storylines with all the games that have come out through the time. But at the end of the day, scrappy again. But at the end of the day, I don't think that it's gonna compete against the top open world games overall. Now, let's fast forward to 2020, and PlayStation came out with a great game in Ghost of Tsushima. Open world, Edo period Japan. That game was beautiful. That game to this day still holds up. Even though it was only 2 years ago, the game still holds up to be one of the best all-time open world games. And what goes into the concept of that open world is the game style, the mechanics of it, the combat style, and the scenery of the game was just incredible. It was beautiful. The Ghost of Tsushima really delivered on making you feel that you're in that Japan period, and the mechanic delivery was just amazing on it too. So Ghost of Tsushima I would put as one of my top all-time favorites and everything. But let's talk about the one that I actually do want to talk about that came out in 2022, in this year, and that is Elden Ring. Now, Bandai Namco have come out with Souls-like games for a long time now, and we know that. We have Dark Souls, we have Demon Souls, we have Bloodborne, we have a bunch of different games, but none of them have truly given us what Elden Ring gave us. And Elden Ring truly gave us an experience, not only for those that have never played Souls-like games, but for those veterans that have been used to those Souls-like games for a long time now, including myself. Elden Ring really delivered on all different platforms, and it gave us a truly solid, complete game, and it just left me speechless on how good that game is. It is the game, when it comes to open world games, that actually, let's talk about any game in total. It has been the game that has sold the most copies. It has had like an incredible community, a bunch of players, even people that have never played like a Souls-like game, like I said before, that had jumped in. People were making obviously big memes on or Souls-like games, and including Elden Ring. It was just a complete experience. Elden Ring really delivered on the scenery of the world, the mechanics of combat and traveling through an open world game, but it also gave us a high difficulty, like a really challenging game that you really want to succeed at, even if you keep dying, because I mean that's the point of Souls games, is you keep dying but you want to keep getting better, you want to keep leveling up. And Elden Ring gave us like a full open world experience where you get to go anywhere you want, have a bunch of side missions. There is a total of 165 bosses in the game. It's just incredible. Elden Ring really delivered on everything that a open world game should be. I'll put it up there with The Witcher Wild Hunt. I'll put it up there with Grand Theft Auto. I'll put it up there with Ghost of Tsushima, like I mentioned, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Elden Ring, now it's on my top open world games, including like one of my all-time favorite games, period. And Elden Ring really like delivered. Bandai Namco really delivered on making a perfect game on that sense. Do you agree on a sense that Elden Ring is one of the best games that have come out in a time? Or are you just not a fan of Souls-like games? Have you tried Elden Ring, or have you tried any Dark Souls games before? Why do you or do you not like those type of games? Because I'm very curious about this. I'm very passionate about Souls-like games. So let me know down below in the comments why or why not you love or don't love Elden Ring or Dark Souls, period. But in my opinion, I would put Elden Ring as one of the best all-time open world games. As of my top 3, I would definitely have to say Elden Ring on my number 1. I would put Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as my number 2, and of course putting The Witcher Wild Hunt as my number 3. Those are my top 3 open world games. I'm a big fan of Grand Theft Auto. I don't take away what it has done. I'm a big fan of Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, but they just haven't done enough of giving me a complete experience like Elden Ring or like Breath of the Wild. And again, like I said in the beginning, it is all subjective, but going in through what an open world game is, what the definition of it is, I will say that definitely those 3 are gonna be my top 3 when it comes to open world games. But let me know down below in the comments what you guys think. I will post a little bit more on our social media, so keep tabs on that so you guys can follow on the conversation. And let me know what your favorite open world game is, why it's your favorite open world game, and we'll talk about it more on our next videos and everything. We are gonna be releasing an Elden Ring video later on, doing a full review. And if you haven't read our review yet, go to our passthejoysticks.com website so that way you can read our full Elden Ring review. And thank you guys for watching. Always remember to pass the joystick. See you later, guys.